and welcome here to this round 4 clash between the Auckland Warriors coming to town across the pond to face the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. Ollie Parcher and Josh Lowe making his debut in the commentary booth. Josh, it was a tough loss for the Bulldogs last time out travelling to Manly, and for the Warriors it was that tough 1-point loss to Penrith. How do you think both of these teams will respond coming off of those losses?
Well, I mean, you got to defend. You got to defend at home. If you're Canterbury, you got to get that first win at home, especially against this informed Auckland team, who are looking to get that upper edge on the top 8 and move towards the top of that area.
Yeah, of course, this is going to be probably any team that is able to launch themselves up there definitely has an opportunity to do so. Auckland currently sitting in 6th, but Broncos right now sitting in dead last at the moment, pending other results. So Chance Bunce will get us underway here. He'll kick off to right side. It is a very wet and almost muddy Belmore here, so we'll have to see how these players handle the weather as Kobe Johnson takes our first hit up in this one. And it's going to be an early hit up through to Chris Lord as well. We've got Johnson, Willis, Gould, and Lord as the forwards to watch primarily. Of course, Hodgson also involved in that line, and Kobe Johnson there getting himself involved very early on. We'll see Reika Manu having to involve himself early in the play, but a huge mistake coughed up there that comes off of Willis, and some miscommunication early on there from Canterbury.
Well, that's exactly the crowd's just gone quiet after that. You'll want to be hitting the gas as soon as you come out, especially off that first set. At home, you can't be doing that.
It seemed like everyone, well, it's like most of them seem like we're on the same page, but it only takes one bad apple to spoil that, as the Warriors now with an early run here for Justice Daly. He'll try and sneak his way through on that right wing, one of the permanent spots I think they'll have, at least for this game. McCartney now finds Turner. They need to get someone else involved here, Canterbury, and they do. We'll get a held up call there. A good tackle from Cambola. I'm not quite sure who assisted him there in that one, but we'll give him the 4th. White will take the 1-up hit there. It's not going to be the kicker usually, but it's very likely to be McCartney. Let's see if he's the one to go to. It goes to Palm, and then it goes to Bunce. Bunce puts up the high ball, but it doesn't have nearly as much of a weight. Akatank will get up to it, and the contested collect works well, but Willis shuts it down, and early trouble there for Canterbury. They do escape it.
Well, I mean, you got to hold your head up for that. That's great defense, especially coming straight out of the start. Like within the 30, the Warriors had a full set. That's a great defensive set to start out from Canterbury, and that's what you want to see.
They really do want to make sure that they can get out of their own territory at the moment. Also, will be questions raised as to how good the kicking is going to be in this tough weather. It was Mayava trying to step through, but held back there by a pair of Auckland defenders. I'll go to Jackson. Jackson, I think, wanted to kick, but instead takes a run himself, and it means that will be pinned back about a quarter of a way up the park. Jackson with a slow play of the ball, and it ends up with Gould, and again they end up with a miscommunication. They do not have the correct listing here, because I think I called Gould Willis on accident in that first set. Either way, a handover, and now Auckland with an opportunity from a completed set, but not one that the Bulldogs I think would have wanted.
Well, that's exactly it, but they got to be on the defensive foot. Hopefully they can have the exact same plays that they had defensively last set, and you'll be all fine.
Yeah, they were able to hold them off earlier on. This is 2 critical sets for the Warriors that they would need to try and bank points off of. Two there of a play of the ball. They'll go to Turner. Tries to take a run up the center. Is brought down there in a 2-man tackle. Corcoran will look to Og now, and Og breaks free. He needs a little bit of assistance here, Rekamano. I don't know if it's going to get it. He does eventually. We'll just double check this one, as Cody Og may have crashed over. Of course, big European Championship experience out of him. And yeah, there was another involved too, as I believe it was Thomas Wallace there, just making sure that there wasn't any chance to get that ball down. Last play now for the Warriors. I'll go to Bunce for the kick, and Bunce has to fire one out, and I'm not certain if he got that one away clean. Ref says he did not, so it will be a 7 tackle here for Canterbury, and they hold the line again.
They're doing amazingly to start out this game. It's not what you expect to see from a team that's 0-4 and are losing by at least 14 points each game, but they're definitely proving us wrong here at home.
Of course, not only sitting in the spoon spot, we're sitting with the worst point differential, I believe, coming into this, as Columbus is driven back in that tackle. He'll play it right on his own 40 at the marker intersection. Moana will flick one out for Hodgson as he takes a run up the middle. He usually where he wants to be. They usually want to give up them to other spots. There goes Lord again. Lord brought down heftily and well by Turner and McCartney. Wallace will fire one out for Moana to send it a punt towards the wing, and this will be taken by Jerome Daly. I think I called him Justice Daly on accident, had the wrong Daly. I apologize for that, as Moana covered his own kick, and Auckland now with probably their first real set that they'll get here. Manu trying to get away here, though. He's going to have an opportunity against Cambolo. Gets a pass away to Bunce. Bunce can't do the usual support run that is available for. Brought down there by Jackson. And it's 32 out, and the Warriors already feel like they're starting every set in Bulldogs territory the way they've been going. Here goes White. Get himself an option. Up just taking a tackle himself, though. Palm with a step. Gets by a one. Moana wraps his arms around him and brings him down. Corcoran comes off the head of Tiara. Nearly falcons it forward. Flicks one away for Turner. Turner brought down by Moana again. Now they got another fifth tackle option. McCartney sets up of a second receiver. They go to White for first. White will put the kick up. It's way in goal, and Mayava does very well to get underneath it. And with 10 minutes gone, Canterbury have diffused 3 big Warriors opportunities.
Oh, I think they might have just got lucky with that kick there, but the Doggies have done very well so far at that desperation defense. They've held their own here.
Yeah, they've done quite well so far. Now they need to try and convert that into territory if they can, as Lord blows by McCartney. Tries to get through the tackle of Manu, but can't quite do it. They'll play up just past halfway. The Bulldogs probably with a big attacking opportunity with Columbus. He steps Palm. Down there by, I believe that's Aaron White getting involved again. Now Wallace, who was not playing an acting half there, he decides he will want to take that spot on the fourth with a quick play to Lord. Short side raid here now with Moana. There goes Slugger. Slugger by Daly. Gets an offload away for Columbus. He's trying to get himself in field, but great coverage defends again from the Warriors. With White and Ta'awa both getting involved. Moana flicks one out for Lord. Lord just gets a grab away. It's off the legs of McCartney. Johnson scrambles upon it, but they can't get clear. And Canterbury will give a handover, but they have pinned the Warriors deep. They've shown good capability so far, I feel, to get upfield where they've had the opportunity.
It's definitely an arm wrestle that Canterbury are winning so far. They're just doing amazing compared to what they have been in the past couple of weeks. Auckland really just need to lift their game if they're expecting to be a top 4 team here.
And right now they are getting decent progress, but it's the first time they're really starting to get pushed back here, and especially in that tackle from Johnston and Wallace, forcing back. I believe that was Joe Turner Jr. No, that was David Ta'awa, who's playing in an awkward spot there where you usually wouldn't expect him. 40-20 propensity here for Chance Bunce, but he'll kick across field and right in the center of the park for Andy Slugger. Slugger had plenty of space to try and put a move on, but not going to get very far, but we'll put them right on halfway. They'll flick now for Jackson and Lord. Josh, who do you think they should go to with this next fifth tackle option?
Well, I do really like the looks of Johnny Columbus. He's definitely been a little standout so far, not only defensively, but also if he can bring that attacking form, I reckon they're going to get over the line here.
Yeah, there's Hodgson there, takes a shot, but he's quickly up to play the ball. Look to the left side a little bit with Gould. We'll see whether he up for the kick, whether they do it like for that left side with Columbus. It looks like they're setting up on the right edge though for Moana. Moana will put the kick that way, up towards Honor King. King is underneath it. He gets back into the field of play, and then some. Cambolo, last line of that kick defense, does well to defuse any possibility that time. But now Lucky Tua will get a chance to flow here, and the Warriors feel like they're putting the Bulldogs on the back foot at the moment.
Well, they just got to keep hitting them. You just got to keep going through that middle, and then you're just going to break through because they just got to keep going.
Yeah, as Bunce tackled on the third, about 37 out from his own line. Manu there, and a bit of a collapsing tackle from Johnston. A bit awkward for them. White now, he'll put in a great 40-20 attempt here. This might not be diffusable. It's going to trickle over perfectly, setting up the Warriors with a huge attacking set again. Great kicking there from Aaron White. Now McCartney with an opportunity. Alongside Chance Bunce, that leadership group will be begging them to put points on the board.
Well, you got to be well here if you're Canterbury. This is the desperation that you've been playing so far. No cracks. There's got to be no cracks here in this defense.
I think just
There we
cracks.
go.
Oh, that might have been Cody Ogg. There was no assistance for the tackle. Going up with no try, but I think he gets this one down around the tackle of Craig Hustler. Yeah, there's just no one there in support, and as a result, a huge early 4 points here for the Auckland Warriors.
That's definitely what they wanted. A lot of people told me about the commentator's curse, and I think in my debut, I am getting that firsthand.
Yeah, almost immediately to say, like, you can't show cracks. The cracks shows, and it's just them not being able to pull on someone else down to make the tackle on Cody Ogg. As he nearly scored earlier, it will score here, and Chance Bunce cannot bring that one around. So it will still be only a 4-point deficit at the moment for Canterbury to try and come back from, with the opportunity to get some big fresh legs on it later on in just a couple minutes from now. And what do you expect for Warriors to be doing here? Do you think they're going to try and just keep the runs up the middle, knowing they're going to have some other players coming in for some reinforcement with Tuxie Yog and the veteran Logan Strange? Or do you think they try and attack those edges?
I reckon I just want to see them keep going up the middle, especially with Logan Strange coming on. I reckon he's going to be that impact that Auckland need to get this game opening the floodgates a little bit.
Indeed, as they now get a little bit of floodgates going through with McCartney. McCartney trying to get through. He might go all the way here. I think the coverage defense is there in time. He go all the way to White. White breaks the tackle. They go coast to coast. It's a beautiful try there for Aaron White. Back to back. Exactly what the doctor ordered.
That's just amazing. He did drag in those two defenders. Don't know why he didn't pass it earlier, but ends up with 4 points. Can't complain.
And I mean, you know, they don't ask how, they ask how many, but every time you could just go down the length of the field following scoring early on and score again, there'll be absolutely no complaint. And it's a much easier kick for Bunce as well, which should mean they'll have an opportunity to put them up 10 rather than 8. Lines this one up. Great and true, and no issue that time, as now a huge opportunity again. I mean, you can't concede back to back to back at home, surely.
Definitely not. This crowd is silent. You can hear a pin drop. You definitely need these fresh legs to come off and at least show a little bit of impact and defensive, what's the word? Bit of defensive poise about them to lift this team so that they can get over the line at home.
Yeah, I was going to go for grit there myself, as Turner Jr. here with the first hit up going after Wallace. Wallace gets a little bit of reinforcement there. Eventually bringing him to ground. McCartney will flick one out for Ogg. Ogg in the center of the park. Brought down very well there by Gordon Hodgson. Corcoran. Oh, Butts, why are you throwing that? This isn't the NFL. Hustler ends up pouncing on it almost immediately. And now the ball with a chance in the red zone, but now they're going to have to bring their props up and get to Tartha and Smithin.
That is just bizarre. Someone please check his Muzz bank account, because I think there might be a couple of transactions that might go their way at the moment.
As Moana nearly crawls his way through. This is going to be a difficult pass for Wallace to try and get away. He does get it away to Oos Willis. Willis trying to crash over, but there's too many Warriors defenders around him. That's what they needed for Cody Ogg last time. They didn't end up doing it then. The Warriors do it now, as they just see great tackle by Waita Ta'awa, making sure that they upturn him, don't allow him to have a chance of putting that ball down. Let's play it on the last. Short ball for Moana. Moana the grubber kick. It comes off hands. It's with Cameron Smith, and it was played at, so 6 more tackles. Cameron Smith gets a huge opportunity for them. They've got to pin the Bulldogs here now. Lord trying to take on McCartney. He blew by him once. Is he going to do it again?
You reckon
Has to have another block. Yeah, that's clean. No issue there. I think they were just looking to make sure the hand wasn't fully underneath it, but no trouble. I mean, reverse angle was a bit difficult there for Taya, but a huge try there for Chris Lord, and might just pull the Bulldogs back into this, making this a 4-point game.
Well, it wasn't really much Auckland could do there. They were almost just scrapping away at the defence. A couple of errors is just not what you want. But good on Canterbury for getting in there. You had to make the most of that, and it's definitely amped the crowd back up.
Yep, and now Moana should be able to make us a clean 10-6, which he does. And that was really just them capitalizing on a mistake. It's something that I've talked about just yesterday in the game of, I think was of the same time slot. Uh, it's been a tough go for just keeping things consistent, making sure that you keep things clean. I don't want to spoil that for any of our viewers at home in case you haven't caught up, but chance Buns to get us back underway, and going to be a really tough go, I think, for them to try and get back up again, but they showed they could at least go past them. How do you think they try and at least get past halfway this time?
I just think the Auckland middle is a bit too strong. So getting out to that wide side, being left or right, I definitely would like to see Columbus be put in a bit more, because he can definitely bring a bit more to the game. They just got to keep attacking that wing, because it doesn't look like they're getting anywhere through that middle.
Yep, and that's exactly why they decided to kick on the fourth here, and it's an early kick here for Manu. Manu getting right through and nearly past halfway, and some excellent coverage defense to get across there to make sure he doesn't go all the way. Cody Og there forced back in a tackle. Very well there to Cameron Hodgson to force that back. They go short again here with Og, and now with King, who blows by his man, but is very close to the sideline. Too close to the sideline, and Craig Hustler, who had Cody Og score on him earlier, they're just able to make sure that Hone King goes right over the edge and wins them the ball back.
That's great defense. The crowd are going to be loving it down in that corner. They're going to be getting around him big time. That's a great defense. That's almost try-saving defense, in my opinion.
Yep, and fantastic work to make sure that that elbow ended up touching the shore, because Willis will now have an opportunity to push them past the 40. This will be some good territory at the very least for the Bulldogs if they can't put points on. Here goes Tatafa. He goes right through and gets a very risky offload out for Lord. Probably was inadvisable, could have kept it, and not only not risked the intercept, but could have just given them 7 meters. Jackie will take the hit up on the fourth, making him very likely available for the last. Short ball for Lord, now Willis. Easy one to go to there, and it gives him just enough room here for the attacking kick. Wallace will go back to Moana. Moana puts up a high ball. It's going to be a difficult one. Looks like it's going to be palm underneath, and that was nearly a tackle into the air from Slugger, but luckily got away with one perhaps, but it'll just be an easy tackle one for them. Strange goes on the second. Og now with an opportunity to go through it. About quarter of a way of the park here on the third. Buns with a little inside outside, and then back inside for Manu via McCartney, but wasn't getting much out of that one. The Canterbury just seemed like they were onto that one. Bunce doesn't elect to kick, instead just goes to Og. Og will be tackled 36 out from his own line rather. Allowing for the 40-20 attempt. Let's see what Bunce elects for. It's just a kick up the center of the park from the 30 to the 30. Cambola will just run it up. Nothing fancy there, just trying to get them some early meters and set them up in great position.
That's amazing defense for them, keeping them to the 35, and now they're pretty much starting their set at the 40, and hopefully they'll be able to get something from here. As Cambola
they might be able to do that with Cambolo there, as he nearly runs through Manu, but just going to be tackled shy of a Warriors 30. Moana fires it out for Tatafa. Tatafa eats a shot from Strange. He'll play it there, about 27 out from the line. Oos Willis now takes a one-up run and just hammers his way forward, but is forced back almost immediately. He'll play it now for Wallace. Wallace and Moana. Moana, oh, it's a wobbly kick there. It's taken by Moana again. He shrugs off McCartney. He can't shrug off Strange, and that ends up being a handover for Canterbury.
Running around in every direction there, trying to get them off.
Has just had a little bit of a technical blubber there. We do apologize for that, because we just had a little bit of skipping, but we hopefully should be all clear of the Gremlins now as Corcoran tries to take a run from marker, but that's very easily shut down by Canterbury's defense. We're probably not going to look for the 40-20 on the third. Oh dear, as ball spills loose. Ruled play on. Before that might have come forward.
Lucky to get away with that.
And right on the 40, bounce now for a great 40-20 attempt, as that was a little come forward there from Cambolo. It's not going to be, well, he will be able to diffuse the kick rather, not going to be under too much pressure. Try and stop that one, as Hustler will go into acting half, and Hodgson breaks free. An offload again for Chris Lord, and that time McCartney started with a battle. It's a very interesting battle we're seeing between Lord and McCartney, but I really feel like Chris Lord has been able to get the best of him on a couple of occasions that have really proved crucial for Canterbury.
A couple last couple rounds, McCartney's definitely had that definitely looking to have that advantage coming into this matchup. But I reckon Lord's definitely outshowing him so far.
Here goes Hodgson again. Little offload there for Jackson. Jackson goose steps the ankle tab. Jackson goes over. A huge try for Canterbury after looking like they were almost flopping. Now they have an opportunity to go up and take the lead.
That's just amazing amazing work by Hodgson to get that offload off, and that little step, no ankle tap there, and he's just through. That's as good as you can have.
And a huge try for Joseph Jackson. Definitely not the primary half as one might expect with the very experienced Damien Moana, former Moana, I believe. Now he looks to kick that one through and does give them the lead with 8 minutes left to go in this half. And what do you think the message is going to be for these final several sets from both of these captains?
Well, with the Bulldogs, you're just going to keep going, keep going, keep going. If you can get another one just before half-time, getting that momentum going in at least 16-10, at least, that's going to be a win so far.
Yeah, 16-10 and 18-10 would be a huge boon for them. Of course, Auckland would be able to take the lead, well, at least tie with any form of scoring, because, I mean, I wouldn't expect them to take a field goal in these last 7.5 minutes, but stranger things have happened in the SRL as Moana there will flick on to Hodgson, and Hodgson again getting a great run in, and that was touched as well. And that's a huge opportunity there just to basically get the set. It'll start approximately on their own 40 here with Willis, and he'll get a little bit more for his trouble as he nearly blows by Tiawa, but Tiawa with a strong arm tackle, making sure that doesn't go too far. Cambolo getting himself involved with an early run, tackled right on halfway. Wallace will fire one out left with Willis. Willis is easily brought down there. He's not getting too many meters compared to his compatriot. Half it now for Smith. The bench forwards getting their final last bit of involvement with about 4 minutes to go before they're likely to be subbed off. Willis now, he'll get a nice post-contact run there. I don't think they're close enough for an attacking kick this time around. Willis fires one out for Moana. It's a difficult kick for them to defuse, and Hone King Hodgson did very well there and make sure to defuse that one.
Hodgson's just been everywhere, but you got to implement him a bit more on that attacking. You can't just keep going to the same player 3 times in one set. You got to wear him out. Plus, you're going to be doing nothing with him.
Doesn't seem like the Warriors are executing that, as they just seem to be using every single forward whenever they try and attack. There goes McCartney now. He's past the 40. He's tackled about 37 out from the Bulldogs line. Corcoran fires one off to Og. Og is not going to get close enough for the attacking kick either. 45 meters that set. With decent work there from the Bulldogs to force them back. Corcoran will fire one for Bunce. Bunce a little chip kick for Mayava. Mayava was just caught flat-footed and just elects to take the tackle. Doesn't like to risk anything else by trying to go down that sideline. I think that's just a clever play to try and get them an opportunity as Jackson breaks through. Past the 40, and he's just going to be able to get a quick play the ball off. Putting a lot more pressure here on this Warriors defense, but now Moana forcing them back. I don't think the Warriors are going to let them go quietly this time, Josh.
They've had amazing runs coming out of that first and second tackle, Canterbury, so Auckland just have to get up in their faces, and they've done that well this set, especially keeping them to about the 50 for this full set. So that's amazing. That's definitely what you want.
Yep, just able to stop them from putting that rolling stone and letting that one roll free. But Jackson now will kick to the corner of Jerome Daly. Jerome with a quick step and is met by a pair of Bulldogs defenders there. I think that was... No, it is Willis who's in his usual spot alongside Cambolo as Cambolo repositions himself back into the line, and we'll get that last bit of fresh legs for Tua and Turner Jr. Manu fires it out for Daly. It's a little bit of confusion on where all the runners want to be. Tuxiog has gone back off the field from what I just saw.
I'll be checking that. How many have they got on the field? That can't be legal.
Yep, Turner Jr. I guess so long they weren't too far involved. There goes Manu now. He's just going to be wrapped up here by Cambolo. In this final minute, they would love a repeat set here because it could mean that Johnson and Gould won't be able to get themselves on. McCartney will put up the high ball. That's exactly what you want to try here. Hustler gets underneath it. He's brought down well by Bunce. And now Canterbury's going to need to hurry. They need to get their substitutions away. Maybe they even just take the error because they're not getting off the field. No, there they are. Okay. Yep. There's Filippo Gould just coming across there. Nearly runs an obstructive run for Cameron Hodgson. This will likely be the last run of the half, and the Bulldogs will be able to come with it with a 12-10 lead into the halftime break. And welcome back to Belmore Sports Ground for this huge round 4 clash. It's been a tight tussle so far with 2 tries apiece, but the goal kick of a difference at the moment. Ollie Parcher, Josh Lowe with you. And Josh, it's been a really stingy game so far, I would say. Not many people able to get going in this rainy weather.
Well, you definitely weren't expecting this of Canterbury, but the home crowd has definitely rallied behind, and they're potentially 40 minutes away from pulling an upset against the Warriors.
Yeah, and I mean, I said earlier that this is like they were up to snuff in that first few minutes, but they've cleaned it up and had 11 straight completed sets, but they still need to get, I think, a lot more people involved. As for the Warriors, they've had to play a lot more defense, but that time they turned it straight into attack, and David Teawa, a second try off a kickoff for the Auckland Warriors. A huge start for them.
That's a very big opening statement, very huge. The Canterbury crowd is just quiet.
Of course, they just swapped over to Awa to get over to that left side. I don't think they really expected it, perhaps. And they had Cody Yogg very involved early on. At that time, they get the other second rower rolling, and should be a very easy 60-12 here. And like Canterbury, you've just come out of a halftime break, but perhaps they just got complacent. They just thought they needed a reset and didn't realize that, like, you got to get back up and ready to fight in these sorts of conditions.
I think that talk in the club rooms would have been just keep going on what you've been doing. You've been able to hold them to you're leading by 2 points, just more and more of that. That was completely the opposite.
Yep, they just sifted through, really, and Cambolo couldn't make a tackle on David Teawa. Just not something that you'd normally expect, as there's Turner Jr. taking the first hit up out of this one. They're going to really look for an opportunity to get to our going again, and that's exactly what they get. And he nearly breaks through, but that time, strong tackle from Gordon. Hodgson holds him back. Here's Bunce now. He's moved across to get them up to the 40. Not quite there just yet. Manu there just sets on one and then takes off himself. Worth noting that Manu is not playing in fullback. That is Bunce right now at the moment. Manu's playing in the halves. According to the list we have here, it's Teawa got through again, and he's nearly got yet another gap. He gets an offload away to McCartney. McCartney nearly broke off a tackle. Not being brought down eventually. I think he just wanted to take the tackle. Lucky Tua, of all people, putting up the kick. It's right taken by Cambolo behind the post. And a great defusal again from Canterbury. It's been when they've been put back. It's the breaks that have really, it's the breaks that have really been what's put them on the back foot, when you say, Josh?
Well, Teawa has just been so unstoppable coming out. Not even 5 minutes in, and they haven't found a way to get rid of him. He keeps hitting those holes, and he's just doing so amazing coming out of this first half.
Yep, and now Tedesco will fight a Walsh. The bench replacements getting themselves involved early on. Now the Bulldogs, with their first real set and their first chance, is creating a lot of pressure here at the moment. Gould tackled right in front of the post at the 30. Walsh nearly breaks through yet another tackle. Og with a strong one to bring him down eventually, but it sets up the Bulldogs well for an opportunity to kick one away. Moana puts one high in the air. Back play here for Tedesco is not going to get anywhere. Strange just falls on top, makes the tackle, and the Warriors that time able to defuse and vote another completed set for Canterbury. They got to the end and they pinned them deep.
It's definitely the form that they had in that first half, and it's definitely keeping Auckland on their toes. That's definitely what you want.
And nearly up to the 30 on the second. McCartney will fire away for Cody Ogg. Try to get him involved. Ends up being tackled there just about under 35. Locking now for Strange. Strange tries to hammer his way forward. Gets about 10 up before he's brought to ground. Now Turner. Turner through the line again. Cambolo has to get involved. Meets him at the hip. Doesn't allow him to progress any further. He'll play it, but it won't be any chance for an attacking kick.
There's just too many cracks in this Canterbury defensive middle at the moment, and they've got to get back on top. It's not what you want.
Yep, Slugger that time receiving the kick in the corner and didn't really have much room to move. There goes Walsh now. He tries to push his way through. Up to the 20. Moana, quick fire out to Gould. He's not going to get very far though. Brought to ground. Moana inside ball here for Chris Lord. Chris Lord fends off one. Jinx wants out of his shoes. Again, an inadvisable pass. I think we lost 12 meters or so out of Lord's attempting to throw the offload. Bit of all or nothing play that time around. McCartney that time, though, able to defuse a Joseph Jackson run. He's been probably their biggest runner so far. As Lord will now put the crossfield kick in. Can they cover off of Jerome Daly? They will be able to. That's Columbus there. Getting a little bit of assistance in that tackle. Warriors will get this set. Just inside their own 30, a little short side raid. I mean, nearly go through with Manu, but going to be really tough to try and get it back out to the middle where they've been winning those fights.
Flirting with that sideline right there. I think they just need to bring it back into the middle where they just have so much success with it, finding those Bulldogs cracks.
They try to find one there with McCartney. He's not going to get too much out of that, though. There's a good tackle there from Gore getting over the top of things. There's Tua playing the lock forward at the moment. He'll be brought down. Just past halfway, you really see the mud is starting to take effect here in Belmore. McCartney with a kick off the left side of his boot. Taken there by Mayava. Got a lot of space here to run, and Bunce was waiting and ready to lay a hit that time around. Just getting past the 30 here, Canterbury, and a look to go again here with Cambolo. Bunce is out of position. He's going to have to hurry over to try and make a tackle. He does eventually, about 14 out from the line. Nearly on the penalty there for a cannonball. The Desco now for Moana. Here goes Columbus. They're not going to have much of an opportunity to get anything in terms of points, but they do pin the Warriors back to their line. The Desco goes for a one-up run, and he's involved at the fourth. Not who you usually want there to take that run as he's playing in the temporary 9. Moana now fouls it out for Johnston. Johnston, oh, great meeting in the minds there as Chance Bunce forced him back. And now they have to take a slow play the ball. Moana looks to Grubber. It skates into the hands of Ta'awa, and Hodgson can't force him back. Auckland able to defend brilliantly on that occasion.
That was a great chase down by Bunsen. Even better defense by Auckland to not let the Bulldogs in there. And Ta'awa's just everywhere. Get a nice little grab from the Grubber and just keeping Auckland out of that danger.
Now one has to think, if he ended up coughing that up, that would almost certainly result in points. There's a quick fire from McCartney to Turner. He ended up obstructing there, but got the pass away in time, and Turner was pretty easily brought down. Not going to get many meters out of this time, though Tua does his best on the last. Coming into the last, rather. Lockyer will fire one back from McCartney. McCartney straight down the ground there and right down to Cambolo. Cambolo a step. Bunce is caught napping. Here goes Cambolo. McCartney in pursuit is not going to catch him. And Bunty Cambolo, after being not too involved in the first half, springs a big run earlier on in the last set, creates a pressure and gets the try to at least tie it with the kick pending.
He just stared down Buncer and he knew he was getting past him. Not today, and Buncer's just gone completely the other way.
Yeah, caught Supermaning there, and McCartney. Bit of a late hit there, but all's fair it seems. Now Moana with a pretty easy. I can't really say pretty easy. This is a routine kick, isn't it?
Not one to put a commentator's curse on, but I don't think it's going to happen. You can't miss.
Yeah, Moana's not Kieran Foran, and he does exactly that. He decides to kick it all the way into the suburbia.
Oh, you still remind me of the days where you used to kick it as far as you can just so the other team had to take their time and get in the ball. Don't know where it is.
Yep, try and get it into the bushes as best you can. But with that try, I mean, again, just created off some excellent pressure. And that's what I feel like the Bulldogs have been able to do in spurts, but they haven't been really able to do it consistently. Cambolo there takes the mark, and Johnston will take this first hit up. Walsh with an opportunity. Doesn't really have too much to go there, though, as it's brought down on that edge by White. First receiver decides to let Gould take the hit up instead. He's brought down in a 3-man tackle there, and they have to scramble back to make sure the markers are set. Moana now again to Walsh. Walsh running right around where the numbers are, nearly up to the 40. Might be a kicking opportunity here for Moana, but he doesn't get a good kick away. But White, he had to really skate. It was on ice skates almost, trying to gather that one in, and nearly ended up putting himself over the line.
Just unfortunate. It's an unfortunate kick, especially in the wet. You can't really do much. It definitely wasn't his fault. Maybe some new boots are needed.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps he was just trying to catch him off guard there and put in a little chip and chase, but either way did not pay off. And the Warriors get some great field position there. Manu didn't really look like he was set for the run, decides to take it anyway, and he's brought down there by Walsh. Locking now for Turner, and he'll fire one off for Strange. He'll be brought down there in a 2-man tackle again. Gordon Hodgson working in tandem. Lock you back for McCartney. McCartney the high ball. This one looks like it could be a really difficult one. No, Angie Slugger takes it and took a shot. Oh dear, Auckland really showing no love lost between these two teams.
Ref, you've got to be having a look at that. But if you're Auckland there, you need to be having more runners getting straight to that ball. There was only one man there making that last-ditch effort.
Yeah, it did seem like it was going to be a difficult one to take, so perhaps just not a lot of confidence there as Columbus tries to put a step on Og, but is not going to get very far. It's Cody Og, of course. Well, currently, looks of things on the bench here. Tedesco with a little break as he fends off one. Ends up getting brought down there just on the Warriors 40. Following to acting half there. Moana will fire one out for Hustler. Hustler, a risky offload. Probably could have been pounced on there by Lockyer. Just snag it out of the air and no real damage done. Lord tries to get by Tua, and Tua does contain him, but doesn't get very much out of it otherwise. Fires one off for Jackson. Jackson just elects to punt this time around for Hone King. Hone King with a step on Hustler, and bring down there by Hodgson. And now the Warriors looking to try and get out of their own red zone with this start.
It's a great little set by Canterbury. They're getting a completed set. That's definitely what you want. Then leading into this second half of the second half, you definitely got to be carrying that momentum of keeping that completed set and not making any errors.
Yep, that's what they've done. You know, it feels like even if it's wet conditions, you think it would have more of a that'd be more frequent, but not on this time. As Hone King nearly got the step on Cambolo and got free, but it was Filippo Gould of all people in coverage defense to be able to stop it. As they sent a great attack down the left edge, and McCartney goes to the crossfield kick. I'll go well underneath it, and great coverage on the chase as well by Cody Og. Allow them to get much out of it. Tedesco, a little scramble from Markovo. They weren't set that time. Allow a nice little clean interchange for them to get Wallace and Willis back on.
Had some great little runs coming out of that dummy area. Tedesco coming off the bench, he's definitely making the most of his time on.
Yep, as he fires this one off on tackle free to the man he replaced initially, Thomas Wallace. This is an interesting bit of a field, and doesn't look like they'll elect for the 40-20 attempt. They'll just decide to take the run and go for the long kick there, with Walsh getting into Warriors territory. Esker will fire one along for Chris Lord, and Lord with a kick towards the corner. Towards our side of the ground, it's Hone King, who is met by pretty much half the entire Bulldogs team. It was Hodgson and Cambolo that ended up getting involved. I'm not sure if Cambolo meant to be that far up, but either way, them down and not allowing him to get anywhere in the kick chases. There is Oos Willis enforcing over Ginger Palm. I mean, that's a risk you run, bringing the centers or the backs on to try and give them a speedy stint. They can just be out-muscled and overpowered. There goes Akatank, another one who is getting that opportunity, and ready there, I believe, in that lock forward roll to come on, rather, in that lock forward roll for this next set. Here's McCartney, a kick from halfway. Down towards the left edge. Oh, I'm not sure what on earth they are doing. Mayava get it together. Puts on a step instead. Will be forced back there by Bunce, and the field of play. That was risky at best.
Fair to say, he might have seen something in the crowd. He just wasn't looking at the ball whatsoever. That's not what he's paid to do, though. Get your eyes on the ball.
Yeah, and Lord there ends up receiving that offload and tackled on the 40. They go for a darting run inside for Hodgson. Hodgson tackled right on halfway. Short pass there for Wallace. Hustler tries to put a step on McCartney, not letting him get free whatsoever. That one played right on the SRL logo. Hodgson, a little inside run, just past the 40 of the Warriors, but not going to get much more than that. Very tight tussle at the moment. Next, it's not quite next score wins, but it could be close to that as King, with his little kick return, gets a step. Now he breaks free. Ting being chased down here by Cambolo. Willis completely whiffs the tackle. Now it's gone. 20-10. He's just got to be brought down. But this is a very tough ask for Canterbury to try and defend in this set. Here goes Corcoran now for a run. He's just been brought on and pretty much had a clean way to get himself on the field. Locking out for Manu. Manu going to be brought down just shy of a line there. A tough tackle to be made by Wallace, but a tackle made over Sam Lockyer. McCartney, it hit the post. I don't know why he threw that pass. The tackle is ruled short. He's going to basically play it in the in-goal area. Good work from referee Sonny Tyvez. Let's take the step back, but a step forward from Ginger Palm is all he needs to give the Warriors the lead.
We just knew that was going to happen. They had to go in here. Just too many. I don't know why. I guess they were trying to get Ginge his try, but there's just too many selfless acts. You're not here to play a bit of friendlies. You're here to get some points on the board.
I mean, perhaps it was just a little bit of a lack of confidence in where Bunce would be kicking from. We saw him miss one earlier. Just say, well, if you want to put him right in front and get yourself 4 points, why not? Or give yourself a 4-point lead, rather. You give yourself 6 points. As now with 12.5 left to play, Canterbury now needed what feels like another coast-to-coast try.
Well, Hodgson's been a bit quiet. He had an amazing first half. He just needs to bring that intensity that he had and just keep hitting those lines and breaking through those little gaps in the Auckland team.
And admittedly, perhaps it's just the swap of Olga to Auer is a reason why he has been contained to Auer. Perhaps just the better option in defense. Zakatanki will take the first run. He gets some strong meters before his brought down. Lockyer now acting half. Manu now for Ta'awa. Double checking something. Yeah, okay, now we're fine. Ta'awa will play there on the second. There goes Bunce. Bunce takes a run at Moana, but he's not going to get very far out of that one with the assistance of Walsh as his tackle on the 30. This is definitely setting up to be a kick on the fourth set. Given their field position and how strong this Bulldogs defense has been, as Tank gets another good post-contact run against Tedesco, but I think they've just kiboshed that with the hour, ending up obstructing the path of a playmaker. Lockyer this time finds Manu. That kick looked like it was just from outside the 40, so they're not going to get an opportunity to get a 40-20 attempt, and Slugger nearly ends up running it right back up their throat, but Slugger brought down there by Bunce right close to the line, and nearly ended up being brought over the line as well.
Flirting with that line. You just got to keep going through that middle, I reckon.
Yeah, and that time they do get a little inside run here for Cambolo in coverage defense. Make sure that Bunce doesn't have to get involved in the tackle, and he retreats to a great spot. Make sure that if there is another break, there's nothing that can be done, but Walsh won't get that break. Brought down by a pair of Warriors defenders. Columbus fires away for Cambolo. Cambolo a step. Is Bunce going to be able to get over there? He's not! And with 9 minutes to go, the Bulldogs have tied it back up again.
He's been the Bulldogs' hero this second half. He's just able to find those gaps so easily at the moment. And unfortunately, with that switch, Bunce just hasn't been able to do the job at fullback.
Yeah, and Core completely flat-footed. As much as everyone just tries to get over and make the tackle, they all completely whiffed him. Just see Bunce it all go for double Superman. You rarely get to see that as he crashes over. And now a critical kick, but again, they've made it pretty routine for Moana so far.
They're doing very well to get under the sticks. I reckon that that misconversion by Auckland early in the first half might come back to haunt them in these final 10 minutes now.
Yeah, I mean, Dan, it's just everything that can come back to you. It was a bit of a haunting. I just thought maybe this could be a difference maker, and turns out with all that's gone on, it's just about proving me right. But of course, could just be that it means that they're going to go for the try rather than go for the field goal, and that aggression could be exactly what gets them the victory. They'll have to be able to score in these final 8 minutes. Moana will leave one for Wallace. Wallace will drive one up just inside the 20. A slow play the ball here, but I'm sure Canterbury won't mind that. Moana the inside ball for Johnston. Johnston nearly gets himself up to the 30 before his brought down. Now for Moana, Cambolo nearly got the step on again. Good coverage tackle there from Og. Need to likely just run it up here. Moana will look for Johnston. They might look for that 40-20 again. It would be such a great deal to them if Jackson could kick one there, but he's too far out when he receives a pass. And Whatever just looks for Mayava. Mayava nearly through the line, but McCartney there. It's going to be able to make that tackle, but into Warriors territory. Tedesco the kick, and it's a great one because it's nearly about a couple meters out and probably would have landed just at the goal line, meaning they couldn't take a mark. King gets decent meters out of that, but not too much on this time, Josh.
Well, as Canterbury, you've put them in a very deep spot for Auckland here, right at the 25 in their second tackle, unless he can break through here with another commentator's curse, a classic.
Yep, and that time Corcoran does get them up to midfield. Not quite alarm bells, but definitely the early warning system might be lighting up here. Manu tackled there on the 4th. Now Corcoran on a one-up run. Oh, it's played at. And more Warriors get gifted a repeat set here. They've been able to defend these before, but now another opportunity for the Warriors to run down the field here. Og now on what is now tackle 1, but essentially tackle 6, and they've thrown it away with a Lachlan Lockyer forward pass. The second one this game, and that one might just be the dagger.
They had so much momentum there, and for them to just throw it away so easily as a forward pass is just, that's not on.
It is an absolute frustrator for the Auckland fans that have had to travel so far to be here. Well, at least if they're traveling from their home base. And now Auckland are going to be put on the back foot again here with this Craig Hustler run. The former Finn nearly up past the 30. It'll set up a bomb option. Potentially. Depends on who takes this run. It's Hodgson, and Hodgson's through. Bunce is not going to be able to cover. They get an offload away for Tedesco. Tedesco's brought down there, but he's 6 out from the line. Look for the grubber kick from Moana, which could be a dagger. No, they go to Jackson, and Jackson elects the high ball instead. Please don't bat this back. It's just going to be taken by Slugger. Slugger looks for an option, and now he backs his way into the in-goal area. But with 3 minutes to go, you'd think that might just be the last set chance for the Warriors.
They've done very well. The Warriors are very deep. I do not see them coming away with the try here in the final 3 minutes. This is going to have to be a miracle.
They're going to have to essentially travel the length of the field, and they only get about 20 meters on their first 2 tackles, if even that. David Tauag receives a pass from McCartney. Good coverage tackle there by Hodgson, and trying to get a slower play the ball as he possibly can. Bunce now going to be driven back there by Walsh. I think they have to take the 40-20. It might be the only way you get anything going out of this. That's what they wanted to look like they do with Manu, but he just takes a run instead. He doesn't even look for any other options. With 105 seconds left, Lockyer now for White. White the kick, it's straight down the ground. And well taken there and coverage by Mayava. Mayava steps palm and is brought down there by Lockyer. And now, how much time do you think they'll have left, if any, of the Warriors?
None whatsoever. You just got to hold the ball for the Bulldogs here and just keep going down and taking slow plays of the ball. Nothing silly, fundamental rugby.
Yeah, and it just seems like that's what they're doing. They're just going one up at the moment. 45 seconds left now. Moana fires away for Willis. Willis eats a shot. May it convert the tackle. Lockyer eventually does. Pondon to put the hand on him just to stop it. Wallace eats another hit. It might be about 10 seconds left, if that. Moana, a punt towards the edge. They're going to let it run. Why are they letting the clock run? And then they run out of bounds. What were they thinking?
Oh no, it's a disappointing end. But from Auckland, that was a disappointing game. You can't be losing to a team 0-4. I think the Bulldogs have just been way too strong today, and they definitely showed at home. The home fans rallying behind their team to get their first win of the season.
I'm lost for words. This is the second time this week I've been completely lost for words. I'm sorry. we're going to have to go for the Ollie rage here. There are 15 seconds left in the game. When your options are to try and let a ball roll dead, at least take a run to try and let it go. Why are we letting that bounce in any world? Why are we trying to get a 7-tackle set when I guess it was probably the best option, but at that point, just ground it in goal. Maybe take a short drop out. You can create something out of that, but a silly run in the end, and the Warriors staunchly upset here by the Bulldogs, and that will definitely cause a bit of a shift here in the weekly tips. I mean, I'm actually surprised here looking at the numbers. More people back for Bulldogs than the Warriors at the moment we're recording this, so fair play to them. And Canterbury, 23 consecutive completed sets. They really cleaned up their game, made sure that in difficult conditions, they kept it clean, and that's really what allowed them to come away with a victory.
I reckon 100% those completions are just amazing. The fact that they were able to just get down there, get the Warriors into a almost impossible spot to get out of and keep them to the 20, to the 30. That just shows how much a home crowd can rally behind a team, and they can take so much power coming from those cheers.
Yeah, and Bunty Cambolo, I'm trying to do the quick math in my head, but I think he got somewhere in the realm of 184 meters in that second half, and the double to boot. I talked about that he wasn't really getting himself heavily involved, but really showed that he could do so in the second half. The break to beat Bunce, and then the last try was stepping through Corcoran and scoring again under the post. That was excellent work from him, and got a great deal of support from his forwards and halves as well. Lord, Hodgson, Johnston, all putting up over 100 plus, and Moana and Jackson getting that as well, with also some pretty good kicking game out of them as well. Jackson, of course, getting that try. Not something that I personally expected, but hey, if you score, you score. Admittedly, it did seem like a bit of a quiet day for the wingers. Slugger and Mayava didn't really get to do too much, but I think they just had a solid foundation, and at that core, they really were able to make strong tackles as well. I mean, you look at how few missed tackles those forwards are making, like only one for Johnson, one for Wallace, and I guess one for Nathan Walsh. That's really it. That's what you really want to see from your forward pack.
It's just been amazing for the Bulldogs. I want to personally shout out Hodgson on probably having one of the greatest games I've ever seen. Not only attacking, getting huge amount of meters, and a try assist to, I think it was Cambolo at the time, with a nice little offload. But 24 tackles and none missed. He was just an absolute threat on defense. He was just everywhere.
Yeah, and full credit to him. That was incredible work. And Mekamanu, as much as he was a main man early on, I mean, he still leads the team in meters, but Hono King was a decent threat into that as well. But of course, with how much the Warriors were having to chop and change, one has to wonder how conducive these stats are to how team performance. I mean, Taksayog and Tane Rangamaiawani just getting one run apiece. That's disconcerting. You bring them into those positions, they aren't really the primary options. And while Manu and King, great options out of the back, the forwards just not really getting the same amount of meters. Like McCartney there did have the 40 minutes at lock to start the game. He put up over 100 meters, but he barely put up any from that halves position. Cody Yog, of course, played at both the second row spots, as did Ta'awa. But really not much support up the middle there. Turner Jr. is solid, but not getting the same amount of runs that you are from your other guys, I would feel.
I feel like the Warriors in the change was definitely like your Turner and Strange. They've definitely become that impact off that bench that they definitely wanted. I think they might potentially. I'd put them in the starting spot next week to see how they go with a few more minutes, because they played amazing coming off that bench and utilizing that time that they are getting. That I reckon they could definitely make a good impact in the first 20 or first half coming from the starters.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the impact from Turner and Strange compared to Lucky Tour, and you think, Maybe it should be a Turner and Strange start, but they'll love to experiment, and I'm sure there'll be something that they can cook up. But in the meantime, this is a tough loss for the Warriors to handle. But for the Bulldogs, they could celebrate in front of a home crowd, because that is just a monumental win for them to come away with. And they will be able to take that momentum with another homestand in a very rivalry clash almost against the South Sydney Rabbitohs. And then the Auckland Warriors will host the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks headed back home for their next week's game. So for Josh Lowe, for Recorder Ryan Wilmette, and for all of the viewers at home, I've been Ollie Parcher, and we will see you next time. Good night.